year 2119. Somewhere, a third of a way across the galaxy from Earth, was a dark and sinister world. This was Alara, a world not too far from the tropical planet of Rune in the Pern system. A long time ago, a wicked creature made its home here, corrupting all its lands and thus making it a staging point for all its diabolical schemes. In the center of these foul lands stood a towering fortress like a palace, but much more foreboding. Suddenly, a dark shadow appeared out of this fortress and made its way toward an open field close by. The shadow was a woman. She wore a dark high-collared dress and had long dark hair and carried a staff. The woman held up her staff, which had a dark orb, and prepared to conjure powers further into the field. She paused momentarily, as if she could sense the very moment something significant was about to happen. Then anti-clockwise powers crackled suddenly around the orb, and dark reddish powers shot across the field and hit a point in the air, as if with precision. Sparks crackled from that point and bolts of static lightning began striking the lands around. A black, white and reddish anti-clockwise portal formed, becoming wider and wider. She lowered her staff, satisfied, watching as a portal began to form. She retreated to the fortress, awaiting in the shadows. As Salura made her way through this portal, she wondered who had saved her from Ardesh's judgment. It wasn't the Dark One's portal, as it was quite small and was conjured by someone that had power like she had. But who had become as powerful as her? She had made sure that all her minions' powers were completely in check, and no one was able to challenge her rule. She would have to get to the bottom of this as soon as possible. Salura had been the Dark Queen since the dawn of creation, and had followed the Dark One from his inception. The Dark One had opposed the goddess's plan for the design of creation and took Salura as his successor from the goddess. Salura was once an avatar, like the Dark One, who was one of the many powers of the goddess. She flew out of the portal and was flying through the air. Flying through the air. What the hell? Who conjured a portal so high? After falling from the sky from a great height, she landed face first into the swamp that surrounded her fortress. Water and muck exploded across the lands. She lifted her head out of the mucky water, choking. She tried to scream out in a fit of rage, but nothing came out of her mouth. One of her spectre guards came out of the sky and landed in the muck beside her. He precariously half-dragged her to firmer ground, flapping its wing in exertion. "You useless creature," she managed to choke out. "Where's that wretched servant of mine?" The spectre guard flew into the air as if in search of the servant woman. Salura tried to get up but could not. After dragging down the galaxy and the battle with Arden and the 3 guardian women, all her strength was spent. She tried again to get up but could only manage to crawl. Her fortress was still a good distance away, but as if out of nowhere, a long shadow of darkness slowly made its way from the dark palace. It got closer and closer, and soon that dark shadow was upon her. Suddenly, there was a swirl of anti-clockwise darkness, before it changed into a human form right beside where she lay. Soon the shadow's appearance was revealed. Salura sneered in recognition. You. Impossible." She suddenly screamed in a fit of rage. "You conjured a portal. How you were able to, I still don't understand, but it was up in the sky, you idiot." The servant woman looked at Salura with a cool poker face and said nothing. Salura suddenly noticed something more disturbing. "You're wearing my dress and carrying my staff," she snarled. "You'll pay for this." She broke off into another fit of coughing. The servant woman continued to stand there saying nothing. "Don't just stand there," snarled Salura savagely. "Help me back to the palace." The servant woman's expression suddenly changed from a poker face to one of sympathy. She looked at the Dark Queen and extended her hand, which Salura took. She half lifted Salura up, but suddenly let go of her. Salura crashed back onto the ground. "What are doing, useless wench? Can't you do anything?" "Shut your mouth," spat the servant woman, cutting into Salura's rage. She pulled Salura up, this time with the scruff of her dress, and then belted her across the face with a right punch. She hit Salura so hard that her jaw broke. Salura fell hard to the ground. 3 spectre guards were alerted to the commotion and started flying around. The servant woman ignored them and looked down at Salura. How does it feel to be on the receiving end? She took a couple of steps and sank her foot into the side of the Dark Queen's ribs. There was a cracking noise, and Salura's body became airborne and crashed further away in the mud like a useless rag doll. Sathesia. No, said Salura in shocked realization of the turn of events. Sathesia Aldana was the servant's name, and she had been Salura's loyal servant for a very long time. Cunningly, for years she had been planning her escape from the Dark Queen's bondage. Slowly and secretly she had built up her dark powers and waited patiently for the right moment. Sathesia walked up to Salura's beaten body and stomped her right foot onto her neck. Salura was now gagging. Let's contemplate the irony of this moment. A powerful spectre goddess whose rule since the dawn of time has now been superseded by her good-for-nothing loyal servant. Sathesia laughed cunningly. Yes, while you've been out gallivanting I've become the most powerful spectre of this time. Sathesia took pressure off her foot to let the Dark Queen speak. By.Ril, spat Salura. I know about the coming of the Dark Sun, but I have a plan for that, said Sathesia, stepping back. She held up Salura's staff and anti-clockwise powers began forming around it. What are you doing? Cried Salura. What do you think? Said Sathesia, pointing the staff at Salura. Swirling anti-clockwise dark powers shot from the staff and struck Salura, who froze where she lay. Sathesia stiffened and started to strain as she conjured the anti-clockwise motion of Salura's being. After much exertion, Sathesia soon had Salura forming into a large spinning black mass. Blood started running out of Sathea's nose as she felt the full strain of Salura's dark but weakened power. Crying out, Sathesia started drawing in those ancient powers, finally absorbing them through her new staff. Her eyes went dark, her body twisted and contorted. She stumbled and fell to her knees, dropping her staff. She dropped her head as parts of her body creaked and cracked. Soon she raised her head and looked around, glaring at the guards that were flying around. Fly down to me immediately, she roared. The 3 spectre guards landed before her with a thud, one after the other. We're not waiting for the coming of the Dark Sun, snarled Sathesia. We will relaunch the offensive on the Pern system before he arrives and crush the Guardian stronghold. She glared at them with pride. Hail to the new queen.